Google AI Studio has a new feature called Stream Real-Time, which is able to view what's happening on your screen, listen to your voice, and have a real-time conversation with you using Gemini 2.0. I wanted to run an experiment using a digital audio workstation like Logic Pro to see whether it's able to actually listen to the music or just comment on the visuals. One thing I wanted to point out is in the developer docs for Gemini 2.0, it says that it was trained on both speech and non-speech elements, mostly referring to sound effects. They did not clarify whether or not they were trained on music, but we do know that Google DeepMind has access to deep models like MusicCaps and MuLan. So what I wanted to know is whether it's able to actually understand and listen to musical components or not. We basically have Logic Pro, which is my digital audio workstation, and a USB microphone as well that are both being detected and routed into the audio output. So while this is running, it is being used as the microphone input for Google AI Studio. When I share my screen, it's going to be able to hear my voice and the output from my DAW. So that's how this works. Let's go ahead and run a test and see what happens. So first I need to select the window that it's going to be listening to, which is this Logic Pro project. Hi Gemini, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How can I help you?
Great, I want to play some music for you and I'd like you to tell me what it is that you hear. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Please play the music whenever you're ready. There is a prominent bass line, and it sounds like there are some synth effects and the vocals.
Let's take a look at the bass line, and can you tell me what melodic contour you see here?
Okay, the bass line has a mostly stepwise descending melodic contour. Rhythmically, it's characterized by a series of short, repeated notes with some longer notes at the end.
Okay, so let's talk about the mix. I'm going to go ahead and pop something open. Let's look at the patch that we're using here. What is the name of this plugin?
The plugin used for both tracks 3 and 4 is Omnisphere.
That's correct, and I'd like you to tell me how I could make changes to this in order to improve the sound quality of the bass.
You could try adjusting the EQ of the bass track to boost or cut certain frequencies. You could also experiment with effects such as compression or distortion to alter its character.
Okay, how about this? I'm going to solo this out, and I'd like you to tell me what changes I should make to Omnisphere specifically based on what you're hearing. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Please proceed.
Okay, go ahead. What do you think I should do in order to improve the quality of the bass sound?
Okay, the soloed bass line is pretty consistent. In Omnisphere, you could experiment with different bass waveforms or adjust the filter cutoff to add more warmth or brightness. You could also try adding some subtle modulation to the LFO to give it a more dynamic feel.
Okay, so how far should I adjust the cutoff knob? Right now it's at 19,000 kilohertz and it can go all the way down to basically 0.
As a starting point, try lowering the cutoff frequency to around 10,000 or 12,000 kilohertz. That range should give a noticeable change without making the bass sound too muffled. From there, experiment to find the sweet spot for your track.
Okay, so I've changed the cutoff. What else do you think I should do to improve the quality of the bass?
With the cutoff changed, try adjusting the resonance setting to add a bit more color or character to the bass. If it sounds too dull, increase it. If it's too harsh, decrease it.
Well, why don't you take a listen yourself and you can tell me what to do. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Please play the music. Okay, after listening to it with the adjusted cutoff, I'd suggest slightly reducing the resonance as it does seem a bit harsh on some of the notes. Also, you could experiment with adding a touch of overdrive or saturation for added character.
Well, I can't reduce the resonance anymore. It's already at 0. So what should I do instead?
Since the resonance is already at 0, then focus on adding a touch of overdrive or saturation, as I mentioned previously, to add some character without making it sound harsh.
Okay, walk me through it. How would you add overdrive or saturation with Omnisphere?
Since Omnisphere doesn't have built-in overdrive, you'd typically add it with a separate plugin in your DAW. You can insert a distortion or saturation effect on the same track as Omnisphere after the synth. Experiment to find the best setting for your specific sound.
Okay, here's a list of the audio units that I have available. Why don't you tell me which one you think I should use?
Based on the list provided, you could try using the Overdrive plugin or the Distortion plugin. as either of those could work well for the bass. You could also consider the saturation plugin as well to add some harmonic richness.
Can you go ahead and tell me what you think I should do in order to improve it now that you can see the Overdrive plugin? So at this point, it has actually lost the thread. It seems that I'm unable to continue. So this is about as far as we were able to go, but you can see that I was able to comment on the bass line with some accuracy. It was able to make suggestions, but in several cases, it was not able to see what was really happening. So for example, if we go back to Omnisphere, if you were paying close attention, the resonance was already at 0 and it said that I should turn it down. It also suggested that the bass line ended with longer duration notes, and when I questioned that, it then pointed out, oh no, that it was actually the beginning of the bass line that had longer notes, but it did detect the descending pattern and the repetitious bass line. So it seems to understand some things and not others. I will say that I've tested this at length, and I don't know that it's able to really hear fully. If it is able to listen to things, it seems to only get some of that information correct. So there's still a long way to go as far as Google AI Studio really being able to interact with you as a co-producer in your DAW. But I think this is a very exciting and interesting experiment to run to be able to see how far you can take it. So anybody who's interested in this kind of stuff, you can sign up for Google AI Studio for free and try it out and see what you think.